To establish the partnership between the school and your corporation, we are releasing the Memorandum of Agreement. Now, in case of first thing to do is you just send a letter of intent to the corporation, company, or establishment that you want to have your work immersion program with. Then, after the approval, you need to ask them, is a MOA or is that training agreement necessary, or will they be okay without any of that? Because if it's necessary, then we will send you the Memorandum of Agreement. Now, at the end of this session, you'll be able to understand the terms and conditions of the Memorandum of Agreement, and you'll see why is this important in the training program. Now, this is a sample of the Memorandum of Agreement. If you'll see, there's the first party and also the second party. So both the establishment and the school will sign in our MOA. Now, what is a MOA? Just call it MOA, okay? A MOA, or a Memorandum of Agreement, is a legally binding document that spells out the specific terms and conditions between and among parties entering into a partnership to implement a program, project, or another similar undertaking. It can be entered into the central, regional, division, or school level. The scope and limitations of the MOA shall not be contrary to laws, public customs, and moral compasses. In some establishments, they call this a training agreement. Like when we had a MOA with AMCV, that's Avidis Medical Center Valencia, they're just okay with the term MOA. But when we had it with the local government unit, the LGU Valencia, it means the city government, they want to have the term in the training agreement. So here's a sample of the training agreement and what you will see in the training or in the MOA. First is you'll see to where we'll address it, usually to the HR, the date, the name of the HR, and then the post, and then the establishment or the corporation or the unit. Now, you have the date of the signing. The first party will be MVC Senior High School, and then the second party will be the other establishment. Now, what is being seen in the MOA? These are whereas. We'll just go to the next part. In the first part of the MOA, you will see the description of the work immersion program and its objectives. The second is the objectives of the partnership. What are the objectives? They're going to provide a supplementary experience for your curriculum. Second, it's for you to apply the knowledge and skills in your side of specialization. Third, to provide relevant experiences. And the last is to form a partnership between the corporation and the school. Now, what are our responsibilities? Both the school and the second party, the corporation, the company, or the unit, shall create a joint working group. So if this will be the case, we are checking with the corporation, and the corporation will also give feedback to us. Second, to form a steering committee to monitor the progress of the partnership. The next one, why can I go to the next page there, is to adhere to all laws and memoranda and circulars for child protection policy. Then, so in the other child protection policy, because most of you are minors, you could not just go anywhere without your supervisor. So for example, in one of the corporations that they were assigned to do banking, to deposit the money at the bank. They're not allowed to do that by themselves, or they're going to have a site visit for engineers. They need to do it with a supervisor. The next is to develop the students' work immersion module specifying goals and objectives. Then you also have your daily schedule of activities and will formulate the policies for the work immersion program. Now, what is the responsibility of the school? I will just highlight the important ones that you will have. We cannot apply number 4, the insurance coverage, unless you are working inside Mountain View College campus. Otherwise, once you'll be working outside, we're so sorry, but we're not covered by the insurance coverage. Next, number 5, we'll exercise the SPA, the Special Parental Authority, especially for minors. The next one, the next is the school will check on your progress for the entire work immersion program. Then it's also the school who will provide the evaluation tool. So before you can go to your work immersion corporation or unit, you need to bring with you your evaluation tool. You need to give this at the very first day of your work so they will know how to grade you. Number 8, it's the school who will give the final grade for the completion of the requirements. Number 9, will ensure that you students will adhere to all non-disclosure policies as agreed by by the partner and the school. And last is provide signed consent forms from the parents as applicable. Now, what's the responsibilities of, of our partner? First is they need to give us the coordinator's number or your supervisor so we can check on them. Second, they'll provide inputs to the curriculum. Third, they will train you with their expertise. Fourth, they will allow students to be deployed to their section. Number 5, they will agree to the required number of hours of the work immersion program. I told you before that it's supposed to be 80 hours, but during the pandemic, we had a difficulty of catching with the 80 hours. So last year we made it 16 hours, but the feedback was it was too short. So we made it 40 hours for this year. So it only states at least 40 hours. You can go beyond 40 hours if you wish to, as long as your academics is not affected. We also set the number of students that will be deployed to the specific corporation. Then the partner will provide you an orientation on what to do and what not to do, provide you training if needed, make its facilities available to you, especially the provision of the personal protective equipment, the PPE. Like for example, before for engineers, they'll be the ones to provide the helmets, the protective helmets, the protective hats. Next is they will evaluate your performance. And the last, they will issue a certificate of completion upon ending your program. The effectivity we also place there when to start and when to end. And the BOA is, what's this? Will expire within 30 days. So what else can you see in the BOA? You will see the liability here. The school, its administrator and teachers exercising authority and supervision of these students may be held accountable for students' acts. That's why you need to be very careful in your work immersion exposure, because whatever you will do, we are accountable to your acts. Our license is already at stake, so you must be very careful. Next, Each party shall answer for losses and damages arising from any accident, act, or omission directly attributable to its fault or negligence. So again, your safety is our topmost priority in the work immersion program. Now, the last is the school shall not be liable for opportunity losses of the partner during the duration and after the termination of these agreement. We also have the non-disclosure provision and the ownership of output and intellectual property. In the ownership of output and intellectual property, we mentioned there that any output You mentioned there that any output that a student will have as a part of the work immersion shall belong immediately to the partner. For example, before in the city engineer's office, they were asked to make a design of the new city hall. So since that was a part of the work immersion program, the output was endorsed to the city engineer's office after the work immersion program. So we could not claim any property rights of that. MVC cannot have any property rights of that, neither the student, because it happened during the work immersion program. Then other provisions, it's just the here. Let me go first. In determining the existence of the partnership, the following elements are considered. Like for example, after your work immersion program, the corporation has the power to hire you, the power to give you wages, the power to dismiss, and the power to control the employee's conduct. But during the work immersion program, strictly no hiring, no salaries, and if there will be a termination, it will be channeled through us. So, no employee. So, what else should be noted in the work immersion program? First, training, which includes the actual operation of the facilities, is similar to training provided in the educational program. Second, this training should benefit the student. Third, the student does not displace regular employees and works under close supervision. So it doesn't mean that if you'll be assigned to a specific office, that your supervisor will no longer work, will no longer report to work. No, your supervisor will still be there to guide you, unless your work immersion venue will be at your home, so it's okay, or at your sari-sari store, it's okay. But in a regular job, you should be closely supervised. Next, the students are not entitled to a job at the conclusion of a training period and are free to take jobs elsewhere in the same field. You're not obliged to take the job afterwards. Fifth, clinical training performed under supervision should be done with knowledge and experience. Number six, the training is general and qualifies a student to work in any similar businesses. We also, the screening program is the same as employment. And the last is advertisements, postings, or solicitations for the program clearly discuss education or training rather than employment. So again, this is just for training and not for employment. And the MOA ends with the signatories of party one of the school and of party two of the partner. Before, we still have approved by the SDS and signed by the notarized by the lawyer. But for this time, we'll just have trading agreement signed by parties A and B. Any questions?